Jon Moxley just went off on CM Punk on Renee Paquette's podcast, The Sessions, and it was something to listen to. We'll take a listen. I'll break it down, share my commentary on it. But first, if you haven't already done so, do me a big favor. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. I'm Omer from Real Take Wrestling, and let's talk about it. So, this big interview that Jon Moxley was going to do with his wife, Renee Paquette, on her podcast, one of the best wrestling podcasts, in my opinion, out there. It was something that was announced like yesterday, and everyone's been waiting just to hear what in the hell Jon Moxley's going to say about all this hoopla with CM Punk and this long Instagram story where he alleged that Moxley didn't want to lose to him. And let's just say that Moxley didn't take too kindly to that. So here's the audio from it. This is from The Sessions with Renee Paquette, Jon Moxley. Take a listen.
Is there anything that you would like to address with all the stuff that has kind of unfolded in the last couple of days on the internet, in the wrestling world?
No, because nothing has unfolded. It's fucking annoying. Just because somebody said some stupid shit on social media, like, that's not news, but it is, and it ends up being a thing. I don't want to get dragged into this dumb shit.
Yeah.
I could fucking unload on a lot of fucking people right now. And when I start getting dragged into this shit, it tempts me to do that, but I'm not going to fucking sink to that level. That being said, during this time period, the night in
Cleveland?
fucking what's his dick's talking about, it was in Minneapolis. It was the night he came back and was hopping around on one foot, bumping around Inner Circle or whatever after me and Jericho wrestled in a badass match, by the way. So we're talking later about stuff. Now, keep in mind, at this time, this is my whole point. I basically don't work there for all intents and purposes. I don't even work here. Tony is not my boss. I don't even have to be in this room. I don't have to do shit. So even me being in this room and offering and agreeing to a storyline that puts you over at the pay-per-view, if anything, I'm bending over backwards for Tony and for this dude and for the company and everybody. Because I didn't have to. I didn't have to do shit. If anything, I was bending over backwards. So, that's it.
So there it is, in no uncertain terms. Jon Moxley took great exception to CM Punk's post. He talked about how it's crazy, the fact that someone would think that he wouldn't want to put him over. He referred to CM Punk in not such a great light, and it is interesting, obviously, noting that it seemed for a while that Renee Paquette and CM Punk were kind of close. They worked together on the Fox show that WWE did. They worked together, or they've done a few podcasts together, and they're very friendly, or they've been very friendly on those shows. I mean, their personal relationship is their personal relationship. I'm not going to delve too into that, but that is a kind of interesting dynamic overall to this situation. But, I mean, obviously, Jon Moxley kind of stated what I think most people see as logic. Obviously, a lot of us weren't there, and this is like a, he said, she said type of situation. But at the end of the day, for an outsider looking in, I mean, it's kind of clear, like, the idea that Jon Moxley, didn't want to put Punk over, and the story, the Rocky 3 story of CM Punk losing and then, having this heroic welcome to Chicago and beating Moxley clean, smack dab in the middle of the ring. One of the very few people in AEW history to beat Jon Moxley clean in the middle of the ring. It's insane. It is actually insane to me that someone would think that Moxley didn't want to job or wouldn't do the job to him, because he did. And you can disagree with the booking, right, about the Rocky 3 thing of, you're gonna have to have Moxley beat him quickly and CM Punk's body fail him so that Punk can have this big rejuvenation. that's all well and good. Like, if you disagree with that and you didn't relate to the story itself, right? It's something that I think a lot of fans did relate to and a lot of fans did see. The execution of it, I think, was a bit questionable because it was so close to the pay-per-view. But for the most part, I mean, like, again, not choosing sides here, but it's just like one of those things of how do you not see how this story is meant to be, right? It just seems like Punk in his statement just didn't understand what the story was intent on doing, which is to make Punk look like the big babyface who makes a comeback and faces that adversity head on and overcomes it, right? That was the whole point, to make him look like a strong babyface coming back. Regardless, he obviously did not see it that way. And I mean, you heard it in Moxley's words too. Like, he just seems to have a lot of there seems to be a bit of animosity there. And I know PW Insider came out with this report. Wade Keller, or sorry, not PW Insider. Wade Keller from Pro Wrestling Torch. There we go. Came out with this report where he said that, where he said that apparently Punk has a lot of heat and nobody likes him, or not a lot of the top people like him. Like, he doesn't get along with the Bucks, he doesn't get along with Chris Jericho, he doesn't get along with Jon Moxley. And I think when you have that, it does create a situation where, at the end of the day, you got to choose between these guys and CM Punk. You're going to choose all those guys, even individually, a lot of those guys over CM Punk. That's just the God's honest truth, right? And that's not a knock necessarily on Punk. It's just what it is. Now, there are always two sides to every story. One place where I will definitely side with Mox is the whole airing that stuff out on social media. Because for me, right, and I understand, we've all been there. We've all been there where we've tweeted out something, or we shared a story, or we sent a text that when we're mad or when we're upset, and then immediately you're like, probably shouldn't have sent that. You're just oh my God, that's embarrassing immediately after you send it, right? We've all been there. And I sympathize with Punk to that extent. But at the end of the day, man, if you have that much of a problem, it's similar to the brawl out thing. If you have that much of a problem with somebody, it's not constructive, in my opinion, as far as that problem goes, to go out in a public forum and just put it all out there, and that's fine if that's how you want to handle it. And if you're CM Punk and that's how you want to handle it, you're entitled to do so. At the same time, of course, it's going to put heat on you, because instead of going and talking to the person, you're just kind of airing out your dirty laundry for everyone else to see. And you kind of seem like a child. And that's the thing. I mean, I know people always used to say, well, CM Punk's a bit of a diva. CM Punk's a bit of a diva. He's a bit hard to get along with. And I think from everything we've heard backstage, again, don't know him, I will likely never meet him, right? It's one of those things where you kind of do see it. And, it's unfortunate. And Mox did in that same interview go on to say something I think that's very important. He said, in 8 years on the Indies, in another 8 years with WWE, I have never seen so much drama than I've seen over the past whatever time in AEW. He's said there's so much effing drama. And, and he talked later about how he came to his decision about staying with AEW, how he worked without a contract for the summer. He was a free agent. He could have gone to SummerSlam, he said, even, but he didn't, because he was the AEW World Champion, and he didn't want to do that. But go listen to the actual podcast. It's a great show. Renee Paquette's one of the best podcasters, period. Forget wrestling podcasters. She's one of the best podcasters, period, out there. So go check her stuff out. That's The Sessions with Renee Paquette. And yeah, I mean, closing this loop, closing all of this out, here's what I will say. It is very sad that people who've been in the business as long as CM Punk and Jon Moxley have gotten to the point where they just don't get along, and you're seeing this childish stuff happen, right? And it just like makes me wonder, like, there's got to be something deeper, you would think, because all of this just seems a little like too childish. It seems way. I mean, again, I know Punk is like a bit of an old school guy, but it just seems like something like, you know how you hear stories from back in like the 80s and the 70s about, oh, this guy's gonna take my spot, and now I'm not gonna put him over, blah blah blah, like all the drama that we were hearing about this situation. It's just sad. It's childish. I hope there's more, because that would explain some things. If there's not that much more, or if this is like the crux of it, it's a damn shame, because CM Punk should be in AEW right now if that's the case. Like as far as like, he shouldn't have done that, the gripe bomb. He shouldn't have done the whole Instagram story thing. And look, the big part of the Instagram story, like, forget the Moxley part. For me, the biggest part is when he called out AEW's management of him and management of his injury. For me, that's like a smoking gun. That's like, it's hard for me to see Punk coming back after that. So we'll see, though. There's a lot that could change, a lot that could happen. Y'all let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. Will Punk be back? Is he done with AEW? Is Moxley right? Is Punk right? Is nobody right? Am I wrong? Let me know in the comment section below. But before you do, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Got a lot of stuff planned for WrestleMania week. We got post shows for AEW also as part of WrestleMania week. I said, hey, why not? I'll throw in a post show for AEW Dynamite. We've got a post show for SmackDown. Post shows for both nights of WrestleMania. YouTube.com/Real Take Wrestling. Be sure to check us out. Until next time, be happy, be healthy, and keep it real.